It's highly unusual for a government advisor, even one as influential as Dominic Cummings, to be in the spotlight to this degree. It's raised questions once again about the extent of his power and to what extent Boris Johnson relies on him day to day in the running of the government. Our chief political correspondent, Vicki takes a look at the man and his mission.
He's not a cabinet minister or an MP, but Dominic Cummings is one of the most influential people in Westminster, a formidable campaigner who challenges tradition and never shies away from confrontation. He's brought a unique style to government, and not just in the way he dresses. For years, he's fought against closer ties with the EU, making his name in 1999 when he joined Business for Sterling, opposing the UK joining the euro. Working for the Education Secretary Michael Gove 10 years later, Mr Cummings blamed the teaching unions for low standards. There were run-ins with colleagues, and David Cameron reportedly called him a career psychopath. It was the EU referendum that brought Boris Johnson and Dominic Cummings into the same team. The former was the front man, Mr Cummings credited with the winning strategy. It's a formula they've tried to recreate in government. Mr Cummings came in with ambitious plans to reform what he called a broken political system. The civil service was criticised, advisers sacked and cabinet ministers driven out if they didn't like it. The Conservatives were soon back in campaign mode. A winter general election called to break the parliamentary deadlock. The message was simple and ultimately successful. The emphatic election victory gave Mr Cummings a chance to put long-held ideas into practice. Investment in science and technology and in areas of the UK that had been neglected for years. In a blog, he urged weirdos and misfits to come and work for him. This all attracted a lot of media attention, and he never did much to deflect it.
I told you, I think PJ Masks are the people we need on the job.
Boris Johnson is certainly going to extraordinary lengths to defend his advisor. That's because Dominic Cummings is at the heart of every decision made here. He doesn't always get his way, but he's brimming with ideas and vision. There are flaws too, and many are not remotely surprised that this abrasive character has ended up in the eye of the storm. As long as Mr Cummings stays in Downing Street, Westminster politics will be unpredictable. Vicki Young, BBC News.
Well, for many today, the events in Westminster would understandably be the last thing on their minds on a sunny bank holiday Monday. But much of the criticism of Mr Cummings in recent days has come from the perception that he was obeying his own set of rules, unlike tens of millions of others staying at home as instructed by the government. Our reporter Fiona Trott has been to Whiteley Bay in Northumbria to test opinion there.
Lockdown on the southeast coast. Hundreds of people enjoying the sunshine at Southend-on-Sea. It looks like a bank holiday before the pandemic. In North Wales, a very different scene at Llanberis. There, people can only travel when necessary. This was Aberdeen in Scotland today, and Portrush in Northern Ireland, where people are still being encouraged to stay at home. In the northeast of England, this has been Whitley Bay's busiest day during lockdown.
As you can see, most people on our beaches are social distancing.
The local council says Dominic Cummings' visit to the northeast has made it harder for them to enforce the rules.
We have to get the message out there that we are still on lockdown. We still have social distancing measures in force. Boris needs to make quick actions now to get public confidence back.
Here on the promenade, many say their behaviour hasn't changed, but their trust in government has.
It's not right, and there's rules that need to be in place, but so you should follow them. But if he's doing it, then I do think some people may look at that and think, well, if somebody like him's doing it, then we'll change what we're doing. But that's not right, I don't think.
Why don't they leave the lad alone? He made a mistake. You know what I mean?
He did do wrong. No, it hasn't made me change my mind, my tactics. I'm still alert and careful.
Everyone has had childcare issues, everyone's with small children. It feels hypocritical, it feels arrogant.
This ice cream shack is doing what it can to keep people apart, especially when the wait feels long. Luciano Di Mio is eagerly awaiting the next steps. Responsible relaxation of the rules is vital for towns like Whitley Bay.
We're fortunate enough to rely on takeaway. Our business is geared up as well to be able to take away. Obviously, we do the takeaway ice creams and teas and coffees, but we're also well known for pizzas, so we'd like to get the pizza oven back on. We'd like to get customers back into the shop so we can bring our chefs back in. And it's time to get back to work.
Many traders want a return to this, but during a pandemic it feels uncomfortable for some. Following government guidelines and following your instinct on a sunny bank holiday is a difficult balance to strike. Fiona Trott, BBC News.